Yes.
I want to talk about Bob Iger because there was a large conference in which he spoke at length about the many problems Disney is going through. Disney has been in the news a bunch because they pulled advertising from X. So Elon Musk, which is a lot more political, a lot of people here will have a lot more understanding of what's going on there. But he also said, very plainly, says he acknowledged that his company has been too focused on the messaging of the movies and not enough on the movies themselves.
Yes, he says creators lost sight of what their number one objective needed to be. We have to entertain first. It's not about messages.
And
wouldn't have expected him to say that.
It's really funny because it's one of those things where when you hear somebody say that, everybody who's been paying attention at all for the last several years says, duh. But like hearing it out of the CEO's mouth is funny because he basically in this interview, because he's the guy in charge, normally when you're the guy in charge, what you're supposed to believe, at least what they used to say, was like the buck stops with you, right? That's not what he does here. He pushes the blame off on literally
He blames Bob Chapek, for instance.
Who was the old CEO.
He blames COVID. He blames literally everything.
Elon Musk tell him to fuck off or something?
Yes.
He said, go F yourself, tell that to Bob. And Bob is probably in the room when he said that.
He's such a sweet guy, though. It's hard for him to sound
Well, that's why it was so awkward, you know?
He'd be
He was like,
I killed your mother.
It's the hand motions that he's doing when he does it. He says that creators at Disney have lost sight of what their job should be. Entertain first. It's not about messages. That's accurate, and we should actually be focusing on doing that. But
it's fine if there's a message, but you don't hit it over the head.
Yeah.
You know, you don't say, this is what I believe. You hide it within the story. And that's what every good movie does.
Well, unless the message is something insidious, like pushing gender ideology on kids. Like those are the messages that they've been pushing.
Right.
Like the
Then they used to be able to put those things into movies in a much more deft fashion than they do now, right?
Well, we talked about earlier. There's like Joanna Man, which is about a guy transitioning to play a girl. Like there have been kind of these story tropes in the past.
So like what they need to do is white chicks too, or if they did black chicks. I dare them.
That'd be great.
I dare them.
Daily Wire. We did black chicks. We dressed up like black. That would talk about a viral clip.
Well, why don't we just make a trailer and pretend?
That's what I'm saying. We just did a trailer.
We just put the trailer out.
And we just dressed up like black chicks.
Because nowadays you believe anything. So I just put up
the Wayans brothers would go nuts.
Yeah,
if they saw that trailer.
The Wayans brothers are woke now as well.
Well, and they're actually pretty talented, but they got ripped off on the Scary Movie franchise. It was basically taken away from them.
Well, I recently saw that Marlon Wayans is doing a whole new comedy special called Rainbow Child, where he's talking about how his daughter came out as a trans male.
Oh God.
And how he's so out of touch. He's learning to do all the pronouns right and everything. And I'm like,
I actually really want to watch that to hate it. You know? Really watch that.
So this is what he says. So Iger's prioritization of messaging over storytelling peaked while he was gone in 2022. Again, there's what I said, passing the buck. Alluding to the 11 months he spent off the job as Disney's executive chairman, Iger has been in charge of creative endeavors in 2020 and 2021, even while Chapek ran as the company as CEO. He says, quote, "We have entertained with values and with having a positive impact on the world in many different ways. Black Panther is a great example of that."
Right, because everyone hated black people before you put out Black Panther.
So, like that's one of the worst things about actors is when they come on stage after they do these premieres and they start talking about the deep impact that their movie has on society. I'm like, bro. It's a Hollywood movie. It's a big budget, multi-million-dollar piece of corporate art. It's not that deep. I actually like it. So we had this conversation recently because Rachel Zegler, who has all her own problems, got in trouble because she wanted to take a role, and then Jacob Elordi basically said, like, I needed a job, they gave me a job. I would rather they say that than pretend like the stuff they are saying, like all the movies that they're making have these great deep meanings, because it's not the Daily Wire, which is a corporation itself. These are massive Fortune 500 companies with more executives, more layers of protection, more decisions get made by more people for every day. Like, I don't need you to lie to me about why you make these movies. Just make a good movie. But they're not willing to do that. So he says, I like being able to entertain. If you can infuse it with a positive message and have a good impact on the world, fantastic. But that should not be the objective. When I came back, what I really tried to do is return to our roots.
So he's acting like he was never part of the problem.
He's lying. So one of Disney's most hated movies, granted it's a Lucasfilm property, is Rise of Skywalker, and more importantly, The Last Jedi from Rian Johnson. He was still in charge of Disney at that time. Kathleen Kennedy might have been in charge of Lucasfilm, but there was a bunch. Mulan, everybody hated the live action Mulan because they did a bunch of characters dirty, plus all the stuff going on in China, which was a big issue at the time because they filmed near concentration camps in the Shenzhen province of China, right? So that was a big deal.
And they stopped making Szechuan sauce at McDonald's. And
there you go.
Yeah, Mulan. That was a limited LTO, limited time offer. It was one of their most delicious sauces. It was a product collaboration with the movie Mulan. Do you guys remember that?
I didn't know that.
And they got rid of it?
They got rid of it.
No.
You guys never had the Szechuan sauce at McDonald's?
I did not.
Well,
Why did they get rid of it? For his racist or something?
Well, it was just it was a limited time.
I saw that guy like on the counter at the McDonald's freaking out, like, I want my Szechuan sauce.
Well, that's from Rick and Morty brought it back,
yeah.
and they brought it back. But that really was a
Didn't
delicious
that guy
sauce.
get canceled? The Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
I auditioned to replace him.
Oh, really?
Wow, because your voice is that
I did, but I thought I fucking nailed it. I didn't get it.
Well,
But a part of me is like, if anyone looks me up now, they might go, I can't even hire this guy because he works for the Daily
Well,
Wire.
I liked Rick and Morty. I used to watch the show a little bit. I mean, I wasn't.
It's funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. But they say I haven't watched the new ones. But somebody I was watching, it was like a podcast or it was a short of people talking on a podcast, and they said that now the person impersonating him it's just like, even though the voice sounds just like it, it's just not the same.
It's never gonna be the same.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the same. The character doesn't feel the same.
Oh, I have to go look up and see who
yeah.
got the
Somebody's
damn
doing
thing.
it now. I don't know who it is.
I just thought I'd make a lot of money doing that.
Dude, you'd be rich. that show's a hit. I mean,
Well, if Justin Roiland can get canceled, obviously you would too. So they would have to.
but
replace
did
you
you
eventually.
see? Did you see that Justin Roiland sketch though, where he's raping the baby?
No.
I mean, it's a sketch. He's like.
But that's not even what they were mad at him for.
I know that was just like they kind of like this. It was like something Hollywood would like, where he
Yeah.
kind of like joked that he was having sex with a baby.
That's the problem, right? The stuff they actually like.
Yeah, like they
It's
like that.
crazy and
That
evil,
didn't get
yeah.
him canceled at all.
The other thing that he talks about here is a problem with their business model, which is like oversaturation of content, which is a real thing, right?
But he's like, we've made too many sequels, but we also are going to be making a lot more sequels.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know what to say.
Well, he said that basically specifically to Disney Plus and in the streaming service
Yeah.
era now, like they're all money pits. They lose everyone millions and millions and millions of dollars.
The movies on the streaming
The
service?
streaming services lose them hundreds of millions of dollars because there's only so many people willing to pay money for a streaming service, and many of them have capped out on the size of their growth.
Yeah, because I was surprised that Disney Plus or whatever it's called when it came out. Well, I mean, I know Disney's one of the biggest companies, but I was like, does people just want to pay $20 a month so they can watch Lion King? You know, or I mean,
They also own like so many other companies now, so it's not just Disney. They own 20th Century Fox.
so you get all those movies
Marvel,
too.
Star
Okay, see,
Wars,
I don't-
and they just bought Hulu, so everything that's on
Pixar.
Hulu
Oh, now you
belongs
get
to
everything on
them.
Hulu.
And Pixar.
Okay.
Well, that's the sad one because Hulu's the only streaming service that I actually really, really like, and because they owned like 60% of it before, and now they bought the rest of it.
I don't even have Hulu or Netflix anymore. I just
I
watch,
stopped watching all of it.
I watch straight internet.
When these companies went woke, I said, I'm not giving them money. I don't watch comedy specials on there anymore.
So they said that. They also said that there's been no focus on profits. He's like, as opposed to message, right? And that's true, right? For a long time, once he took over, once Bob Chapek took over, it seemed like he was getting bullied by the people that worked under him, who were more focused on the message. Because Bob Chapek was a theme park guy before.
Well, didn't Reimagine Tomorrow, that
2020,
conference that Christopher Rufo leaked, happen under Bob Chapek?
that would have been
Or
under
was that
Iger?
under
I
Iger?
believe that would have been under Iger before he went out.
So clearly he wasn't keeping the company in check.
No. And there was plenty of movies that were failing beforehand, like Dumbo. They made a Dumbo remake that literally no one watched.
They made Dumbo was black, right?
There are a
They
lot
made
of
a
these that
Dumbo
like
remake?
made
That was a
it.
classic movie.
Yeah.
Why even remake
people have never
it?
heard of a lot of these things. Like,
Yeah.
did you guys watch Luca?
No, I
Don't know what that is.
I don't know what any of
What's
these
the
are.
other one? Rava and the whatever dragon.
So I do have a question for you guys. How could a company like Disney
Well, they had Tim Burton direct
Yeah.
it, so they were trying to make a great movie. They got one of the greatest directors.
and nobody went and saw it?
And yeah, Danny DeVito, Michael Keaton, Colin Farrell. Wow.
You need how to
could
turn
they
it
win,
around.
How could they win you back?
They're in a tough spot, man. To be a CEO or somebody at one of these companies that have gone woke, because you're pleasing everybody, you're issuing apologies for every little offensive thing. You need like a Trump-style CEO to just be like, we're not doing this anymore. We're going back to the old style, and no more apologies. No more of this woke shit.
Oh, it's so
You
funny.
have to.
The interviewer brought up this old letter that Walt Disney wrote when he was nearing his death in 1966, where he was talking about how sequels are usually a mistake. And we're not going to make that same mistake with Snow White. That was an actual quote from the letter that he wrote. So he's clearly turning in his grave right now.
Walt said that.
He actually said, we're not going to make that same mistake with Snow White. And now they are making that mistake and they're proud of it.
But it's not technically a sequel, right? They're just
Well, I mean, same difference as far as Walt Disney is concerned.
Yeah.
When does that come out? The Snow White?
2025. And
What?
that was a reaction.
That long?
That was a
25?
Yes, and they made that announcement,
Next year, yeah.
blamed it on the actors' strike and writers' strike delaying development, but in reality, it was because they needed to reshoot a bunch of things, rewrite a bunch of things, and delay it in reaction to Daily Wire's announcement.
Yeah.
So now Daily Wire has even more time to make theirs in competition and release it at exactly the same time in
Which is
March
great for Daily
2025.
Wire.
Oh, that's what they're going to do.
And they're not going to openly admit that, of course, but that's the truth.
They should go head to head with it because it's just going to make it's just going to make Disney embarrassed, right? Even if they don't beat it, if they just cause a dent, it's going to make Disney look bad. So.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to see Disney turn it around. I don't think that you can. I think even if it was possible, it would take 10, 15, 20 years for this to really turn around. A company this size, of a corporation this size, it would take 5 years before we even started seeing changes in a lot of these products, right? Because structurally, you have DEI departments, you have all sorts of things in place and that's not just the movies and the television, that's at the corporate structure for the people who aren't even creatives, right? It's infested every level of their corporation.
There's a leaked video, or not even leaked, it was a podcast where she was like, I'm putting my, not so secret gay agenda in everything, and they don't question me. I'm like, get her out.
Yeah.
She's probably still in.
Yeah.
And honestly, like
No, that was the lady who that was the Reimagine
Was it Victoria
Tomorrow.
Alonso?
No, that was the lady from Reimagine Tomorrow who has since left the company.
Yeah, but this is what I don't understand. Listen, I believe a pride flag should exist. They're great outside of a gay bar.
I don't.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying it can exist.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I know you're being sarcastic, but I'm saying I get like why there is an application. What does the rainbow flag symbolize? There's no difference between a straight man and a homosexual other than their sexual preference, right? So this flag is celebrating sexual preference. That's what the flag celebrates, correct? Would you guys agree?
I think that to
Not
them,
anymore.
to them,
I guess not anymore, but that's what it originally, that's what it was, because lesbians would wear a rainbow pin so they knew other lesbians to hit on. That's supposedly like kind of...
I don't think we need it anymore.
Well, this is my point is, I don't think that we need a flag that celebrates your...
Who you have sex with.
Yes, exactly right.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.